If you think giving up a seat is a small thing, listen to this. Because one morning I gave someone my seat, and in return, I heard my mother's last words. That day started like any other. Cold London air, a gray sky, a suitcase that felt heavier than it should. I was heading to Heathrow, trying to do what I always did: keep moving, keep working, keep everything together. In my bag, I carried something I never traveled without anymore: a faded scarf. It used to belong to my mom. She was gone now. And the hardest part wasn't only losing her, it was knowing I kept saying, "I'll call later." Later became tomorrow. Tomorrow becomes next week. Next week became never. Her last call appeared on my screen one evening. I was in the middle of something important. I promised myself I'd call back in 10 minutes, but 10 minutes turned into sleep. Sleep turned into another day. Another day turned into silence. All I had left was that missed call and the scarf holding the faintest trace of her. I booked a seat on the Heathrow Express, window side, not because I wanted luxury, but because I needed quiet. A few minutes where nobody needed anything from me. A few minutes where I could breathe. I sat down and wrapped the scarf around my neck. The doors closed, the train began to move, and then I saw him. An elderly man stepped in slowly, holding a small cloth bag. Thick glasses, a tired face, knees that looked like they'd been negotiating with pain for years. He scanned the carriage, searching for a free seat. He didn't ask anyone. He didn't complain. He just stood there, swaying slightly as the train picked up speed. I watched his hand grip the rail tighter, and in that moment, two voices showed up inside me. One voice said, "You're exhausted. You chose this seat. You deserve your peace." The other voice said, "It's just a seat." The train jolted, his shoulder dipped. For a second, I pictured him falling, and my chest tightened. So I stood up. "Sir," I said gently, "please take my seat." He stared at me, surprised, like kindness had become something unexpected. No, he said quickly. "You sit. I'll be fine." I smiled, soft but firm. "I'll be okay. I don't want you to get hurt." He hesitated, then lowered himself down carefully, breathing a little harder than he wanted to show. I moved near the doors, holding the pole, watching my reflection in the glass. Tired eyes, a face trying not to fall apart. I told myself it was nothing, just a seat. Then the elderly man looked up again. His eyes landed on the scarf around my neck. His expression changed, like he recognized something. He leaned forward slightly and said, "That scarf." My throat tightened. "Yes," I said. "It was my mother's." He went quiet, like he was choosing his next words. Then he asked, "What was your mother's name?" I told him. The moment her name left my lips, his eyes turned glassy. He blinked hard, once, twice. Then he reached into his cloth bag and pulled out a small envelope. Old, creased, handled many times. He held it like it was fragile, and on the front, written neatly, was my name. My body went cold. I don't understand," I whispered. "Why do you have that?" He swallowed. "I volunteer at a community center," he said softly. "Your mother used to come there." I felt my breath catch. He continued, voice gentle. "She didn't speak much, but when she did, you could tell she'd been holding so much inside." He lifted the envelope slightly. "She gave this to me months ago," he said, "and she told me, if you ever see my child, please give them this." My hands trembled as I took it. The paper was warm from his fingers, and somehow it smelled faintly like home. I looked at him, eyes burning. Was she angry with me? I asked, barely audible. Because I didn't call back? His face softened immediately. No, he said. No, not for 1 second. He shook his head slowly. She said something I'll never forget, he continued. She said, "My child isn't cruel. They're just losing to time." That sentence hit me like a wave, because it was true. I wasn't heartless. I was just busy. And busy had stolen what mattered most. He nodded toward the envelope. She wanted you to read it when you were alone, he said. But I think today is the day it was meant for. My fingers shook as I opened it. Inside was a folded letter. I unfolded it slowly. And there it was. Her handwriting. The same handwriting that labeled jars in the kitchen. The same handwriting that left little notes like, "Eat something, okay?" My eyes blurred instantly. I started reading. My love, I know you're tired. I know the world asks too much of you. I know there are days you don't even recognize yourself. But I need you to hear this. You are not a bad person. Even when you sound frustrated, even when you disappear, even when you forget to call, I still know who you are. When you were small, even after tears, you were the first to come back and hold my hand. So I know your heart. If one day you feel like you've lost me forever, make space for someone. Give time to someone. Show kindness to someone. Because kindness brings people back to being human. And listen, even if you didn't answer my last call, I wasn't angry. I just wanted to hear you say, "Mom, I'm okay." That would have been enough. Please be okay. That is my peace. I couldn't finish without breaking. Tears ran down my face, quiet and unstoppable. The scarf around my neck suddenly felt heavier, like it was holding every word she never got to say out loud. The letter ended with one last line. The day you give someone your seat, you'll understand. You were never far from me. I pressed the paper to my chest. I didn't care who saw me, because this wasn't drama. This was grief, finally turning into something softer. The elderly man watched me with gentle eyes. He didn't rush me. He didn't ask questions. He just sat there, like a messenger who had finally done what he promised. I wiped my face, struggling to speak. "Did she suffer?" I asked. He answered honestly, but kindly. "She missed you," he said. "But more than that, she worried about you." I frowned, confused through tears. "Worried about me?" He nodded. "She used to say, 'My child is carrying everything alone. One day they'll break because they don't let anyone hold them.'" The train slowed as it approached Heathrow. People gathered their bags. The elderly man stood slowly, careful with his knees. Before he walked away, he looked at me and said, "One more thing." I met his eyes. He said, "Your mother believed this. Time isn't money. Time is people. So give people time, and you'll never truly lose them." Then he stepped off the train, and I stood there, holding the letter, holding the scarf, holding the weight of every time I said, "Later." Inside the airport, I stopped near a wall, pulled out my phone, and opened my recent calls. Her name was still there. I knew she wouldn't answer, but I called anyway. And when the call went to silence, I whispered into the empty line, "Mom, I'm okay." My throat tightened. And today, I gave someone my seat. I closed my eyes. A tear fell, Then I finally said the words I avoided for too long. "I'm sorry, Mom." And I realized something simple. Sometimes your biggest healing comes from your smallest kindness. So if your parents are still here, don't wait. Send the message, make the call, say the simple line, "I'm okay." And if they're gone, make space for someone today. Give your seat, give your time, give your patience. Because love doesn't always come back as a person. Sometimes it comes back as a letter, hand-delivered by a stranger, right when you needed it most. Inspired by real-life moments, if this story touched your heart, comment just one word: time. And for more real emotional life lesson stories, follow Storytelling Life Lessons.